Hey Gen X beauties, are you over 50 and looking for that makeup routine that is fun and flattering and feels like the real you for a workday? Well, spoiler alert, you don't need Glam Squad or a time machine. So if your makeup bag feels more retro archive than morning motivation, stick with me because this one's for you. Okay, I've got two palettes in front of me today and I'll tell you why in just a second. I've got the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. And then I've got the new Lancome. This one is called Cafe Crush, and it's a collaboration with Shake a Daily. I'm not quite sure who that is. I'll look her up later. Here's why I love this palette. Look at those rich, rich fall shades. Now, for the most part, when I'm going to work, I tend to gravitate towards more neutrals. It really depends what I'm wearing, but this would be also excellent. Like, for example, we'll probably just use these today or some variation of, but like these shades here are amazing. Like this burgundy shade is just absolutely stunning. And these are all shimmers up here. And this is a shimmer, like this plum shimmer. Can you see that if you were like going out on a date night? I mean, just absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. Love it, love it, love it. But I grabbed the Natasha Denona because I need more of a transition shade for my brow bone area. And this was a little bit too dark. So that's this one here. And I'm trying not to blind you guys with the mirror. And I'm going to go back to my Sigma E25. I have a tendency to reuse my brushes so that I don't have a ton of brushes all over the place. So we're going to use that one. I did bring another brush just in case I needed it, which is pretty similar. It's a little fluffier. And this one is from Esam Cosmetics, which I love. Esam, and this is the G26 brush. Let's start here with Stone, and I'm going to start with my transition. Now, I know, obviously, I've been doing my own dang eyes for years, so I know where to start my transition shade. I have some hooding as my brows are dropping as I age, so what I tend to look for, I do have larger eyes, but if I look straight on in a mirror, and just pinpoint where I need to put my transition shade as I'm looking directly in the mirror. So I also don't come down because again, we don't want frowny face. We want happy. So I come straight in from the outer edge, right in through here. And I'm just using these kind of little swirly motions. And I am actually going to blend this out a little more because as you can see, it's a little bit dark right here. So when I am done applying the color, I will go ahead and I will take a clean fluffy brush just to blend that out. And I'm going to get that right up to my crease. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. This is actually a really good transition shade, especially if you're going with more of a neutral look. Again, right up to that crease. Because I have larger eyes, I can get away with something slightly darker. But again, I don't want it to be too dark. And we're going to clean all this up too before we're done. So just so you guys know what I'm looking at, not only do I have a mirror in my hand, but I also have a mirror in front of me, which is behind the camera. So that's why you may see me looking off just a bit. Okay, so it doesn't have to be perfect just yet. I'm going to take my clean fluffy brush. This one is the BK Beauty 201, and I'm just going to blend out this edge because I don't want a sharp line right there. And we're going to go back over this a little bit with a lighter shade in just a minute. Okay, let's dig into this Lancome palette. And I'm going to use the same exact brush. I usually keep some sort of little towel or something either on my vanity or on my lap so I can clean off my brush as I go. Just makes life a whole lot easier. Now I'm going to come in and now I'm going to be applying more color to my lid, but I'm not going all the way across. I'm only going about halfway. And I'm actually coming down this way because I want more of an angle at that outer corner. I don't want anything rounded because my eyes are already round. So I want a little bit of an angle to give me a little bit of a lift. And this shade, I didn't keep the little thing that came with it that told you all the shades. I have a tendency to throw those out. But it's the first shade on the bottom row. Another little trick that I have learned over the years is when you're doing your shadows, you want to blend darks to lights and then lights to darks. That's a good frame of reference. So this is more of my main color. So I'm bringing it in kind of like halfway, and we're going to blend this out once I've got the rest of my shades. Usually 3, sometimes max of 4 shades is what I do on a daily basis. It really depends what I'm in the mood for, to be perfectly frank. I'm just going to clean off that brush. I'm taking the very tip of the same brush and I'm just dipping it like this. Very lightly, get off any excess. And here, I'm just gonna do this outer corner. And again, circular motions. And I'll even like make sure that I'm sweeping up. But I just wanna give a little bit of darkness to this outer corner. Now you can do V shape to help you get in there. Basically for me, the way I do it is I'll come down a little bit and then up a little bit and then down a little bit and then up a little bit and just blend out the edge where it's meeting that main color. You can take that fluffy brush and you can blend just so everything is cohesive. Now, I don't necessarily have to put a lighter shade in here because I use that cream eyeshadow and that really does its job. But I do, for me personally, want to put a little bit. So I'm going to use Fair from the Natasha Denona palette. And I am going to use a clean brush because this has plenty of dark colored product on it. So I'm just going to dip in here. It's kind of like a peachy color. Goes well with the rest of the shades. I'm just going to dab that on this inner part. And then I can even take that fair shade and I can come up here under my brow just to blend that transition shade so there's like a seamless blend going from the transition to the brow. Okay, enough of the eyeshadow for now. Next thing I would do, I'm sure you guys have heard of tight lining. I prefer to use a waterproof gel-like pencil to do that. What that's gonna do is it's going to make your lashes look fuller. You do this on your top lid. Anyway, Makeup Forever, Aqua Resist, love these. I typically do not use black because black is really harsh when it comes to mature eyes. So what I don't do is I don't actually put it on the skin of that upper lash line. I work it into the lashes itself so that it will give the lashes some depth. And the reason why I like these gel pencils is because it just glides so much easier. And you can even take, I saw Rose Syard do this, and what she taught was she actually lifted the lashes and then got in there with the pencil, which you can do that as well. If you want to use your finger, but I'd use the back part of your finger because this part is warm and you could smudge your eyeshadow. If you want to just use the back of your finger to lift, you can certainly do that. And again, I'm not coming down with the liner. If anything, I'm going to sweep it kind of outwards. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. You can use your brush, you can use your finger, you can just work it in. Sometimes, you know, depending on how close I am to the mirror, I'll just get right up in there with the mirror and just position my eyes so that I'm just working it in like this. I also don't come all the way into the inner corner, because as I get makeup all over myself, my eyes are closer set. Even though they're large, they're closer set. So I don't want to bring darkness in because it's going to make them look even closer. So I'm just going to like, just the end of like my baby lashes that are in the front there. And it doesn't have to be one sweeping motion. You can stipple it. The other thing that I will typically do, and I do this because I have large eyes, if you have a smaller eye, you're not going to want to do this because it's going to close off your eye. Either that same pencil or a different pencil. This one, I don't think. I like the ones from Urban Decay, like the whiskey shade. This one is from Laura Mercier. It's one of her caviar eyeliners, and I forgot the name. Oh, it's Cocoa. Okay, it's Cocoa. If you want, you can also come along the top edge of your lashes and just work it in, so then you've really got a nice seamless. And I'm actually going to blend this out a little bit with a little bit of powder just to soften it up. So there's a couple of options there depending on the size of your eye and what you're comfortable with. These caviar pencils go on really nice. A lot of times too, you can use a gray. I really like gray. If you're somebody that's kind of married to black, you've been using black all your life, maybe try switching to a gray if you don't want to do a brown, and that will soften up that look for you. I'm actually going to use this end of my eyebrow brush, which I love this brush. I found it at Sephora. Well, I'll tell you the reason why I love it is because it's already angled. So a lot of times what I'll do is like with spoolies, especially like when I'm working on a client, whether it's mascara or it's some sort of brow product, I'm bending them to make them easier to work with. But anyway, what I did was I took a little bit of the dark brown in this Lancome palette, and I'm just gonna soften this up with a little bit of shadow so that it doesn't look so harsh. And you can, even if you don't want to put any shadow product on your brush, you can simply take the brush and just go over the eyeliner just to smooth it out, make sure everything looks nice and seamless. Okay, and I'm actually going to flick up a little bit here. Okay, there's two concealer brushes, and this second one I'm going to show you, I don't even think it's a concealer brush. It's actually, I think, an eyeshadow brush, but like I said, you can use whatever brush you want. So we talked about the Angie Hot and Flashy A506. This one's from Esom Cosmetics. It's the V27, and the reason why I like it is it's got the same concept in that it's angled, right? So you've got longer bristles here, shorter bristles here, but it's tiny. And tiny is fantastic when you're working with concealer. So I'm going to take these babies off. And before I apply anything else on my face, I'm using this e.l.f. Stay Cool Primer Stick, and I'm going underneath. Now, because I had the eye pads on, I don't have to worry because there's no eyeshadow there. And I'll clean up the eyeshadow that's at the outer edge in a little bit, but I'm just going to put this under the eye and let that sit for a second. And while I do that, I'm going to take my Nicole Beauty, and I've got this nice little flat cream color brush from Sigma, and I'm just going to get the little red capillaries that tend to form around our nose. Now, you can go get those treated at any sort of like med spa or whatever. If you want, they'll get them to, I think they do some sort of little laser and it'll cause them to close down. I don't know that they won't come back. They might, because, you know, all those pesky little things that happen as we age. But I'm just putting it around this green around there because I want to mask these. And then I'm a little bit red on my chin right here. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I have a peachy shade of concealer that I use to put on some of my hyperpigmentation spots. This one is the Lancome Serum Concealer. I've got a spot over here. And I think, if I remember correctly, I've got a spot like right along here. And I'm a little spotted here. So I don't need it all over the place. Even though I may look like I have a little bit of darkness here, I have a little bit like right here on the outer edge of my eyes. But the issue that I have here is that I've lost volume, obviously, from aging. So it makes it look like I'm dark right there, even though I'm really not. Honestly, truly. So while that is marinating, let me shake up these little guys. So I'm in love with the Sarah Creel concealer, not gonna lie. But lately what I've been doing is I've been mixing a little bit of this Cali Ray. This is, I think it's a color corrector. This one's called Hideaway. It's a brightening, hydrating under eye serum concealer. Well, this is like a very light pink, way too light for me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of that Sarah Creel. And even though I will tell you, this little baby's pricey. This little baby's not. However, you only need the tiniest bit of Sarah Creel because it a little goes a long way, and it's also self-setting. So you don't have to fight with it. And I'm gonna take the little teeny tiny brush from Esom. I'm actually gonna mix these two together. And with what's on my brush, I'm gonna pinpoint where I want this, which is right here, and right here. And then I will use whatever's left on my hand to blend out. But I'm gonna let this kind of sit for a little bit. I'm just gonna press that in right here and let it sit while we do complexion. And I would love to know like what foundation y'all are loving right now. I don't put any face primer on, and I'll tell you the reason why I don't do that is because my skincare is my primer. I don't have large pores. I'm not oily. I'm dehydrated, which is a little bit different from dry, but I don't need it. My skincare can do the work. And I'm gonna take this sponge, and where I put that green color corrector, I'm gonna work that in. This is damp, and I will say I found these sponges on Amazon, and I love them because not only are they squishy and they get giant when you get them wet, but they're flocked. So they're great for powder and creams. Now I'm gonna let this sit for a minute before I blend this out. The foundation that I'm gonna use today, and I did another video that talks about the secrets to good skin prep, right? To make your makeup look flawless. So we will definitely put a link to that in this video. But this video is jam-packed full of information, and it's probably gonna be longer than you wanna watch. So we're gonna break it into two parts. So stay tuned for part 2.